Hello, my La Perla neighbors. For those of you who don't know me, or who haven't seen me on board meetings, at least via Zoom and communications from me, etc., my name is Steve Dombrower. My wife and I own Unit 2001 at La Perla, and we purchased our unit just about 10 years ago. September will be 10 years, back in 2013, excuse me. We love La Perla. We fell in love with the building, we fell in love with the neighborhood, and we also fell in love with the fact that we have neighbors from all over the world, which makes La Perla just such a rich cultural environment to be in. To this day, we believe it was one of the best moves we ever made, and we want nothing for the best or but the best for the building, and that's coming from the heart. I'm personally reaching out to you today via video on behalf of myself and our entire slate, La Perla First. The events of the last several days with this fiasco, I'll call it, concerning the second mailing with all of the ballot information in envelopes, is what caused us to go ahead and try to address the owners at large with a more personal video. The other reason is I personally am becoming a little tired of all of the messages and emails and texts. I am sure a lot of you see the same thing that I see. I was in a meeting yesterday for about an hour at work. I came back, didn't have my phone on me, had 150 or 160 messages between text and WhatsApp chats, and it gets a little bit crazy. So reaching out personally like this is a little bit of a different medium, and we hope it's a little bit of a break for everybody from just reading their phones all day long. The second reason for reaching out this way is it's a lot more difficult to tell lies and untruths when you're looking directly at the people that you're addressing, in this case via video. In other words, it's much easier to say things in emails and texts on certain topics than saying it face to face. So we thought a video would make a lot more sense at this point in time. First of all, it's unfortunate but very common that during a campaign we start to see lies about the other slate come out. I think it's almost expected sometimes. We see it in politics here in the United States and around the world. We see the negative campaigns, we see smear tactics, we see the lies. It happens, it's unpleasant, and it should be avoided, but oftentimes human nature will prevail. And what I mean by human nature is when someone is backed into a corner. You probably have heard this term before, the flight or fight reaction. This is exactly what is going on today. The other side of this argument, our opponents in this campaign, have been backed into a corner, and this has triggered not their flight reaction, but their fight reaction. So in desperation, they have become, or they have begun, I should say, to really start communicating lies around our slate. It is unfortunate, but unfortunately, it does become part of the campaign at some point in time. However, in the words of Ronald Reagan, and he used to say this a lot, it's always important to trust but verify. Trust but verify. You can trust what they say, but verify what they're saying. And I would like to help with a couple of the recent lies, just to give you an idea of what's going on here. First one that I want to cover is Tanya and her so-called conflict of interests with the fact that her husband was awarded the contract for the security camera project at La Perla, and that Boris didn't run a process correctly. It's absolutely untrue. First of all, the process included going out to 3 companies, one of them which was Tanya's husband. We received 2 formal bids. The third bid was through a conversation, not a formal bid. Tanya's husband's company came out, or submitted the best bid for our building, which was not just security cameras, but it was to evolve the building over time into a quote-unquote smart building. So La Perla went with Tanya's husband. Was it a conflict of interest? It was absolutely not a conflict of interest because Tanya was not on the board at the time. That said, if Tanya were to be elected to the board 3 weeks from now, what would have to happen is she would have to formally disclose to the board, to our legal counsel, and to the entire association her conflict of interest in this matter, because she is now a board member and actually does have a conflict. At that point, it would be noted and recorded, and Tanya would be asked to recuse herself from any conversations going forward or any votes related to that topic, so long as she has that conflict of interests. That's the way we should be running things, and that's the way board members should be behaving. I want to talk a little bit about Boris and Sammy and the lies being spread about them. They keep referring to Boris and Sammy as the 2020 board that confiscated parking spots. So first off, Sammy was not part of the 2020 board. Sammy Beeman was not elected in 2020. It was Justin Furman who was elected as our president in 2020. Justin sold his unit in 2021 and therefore had to resign from the board. At that point, the board, with their power, appointed Sammy Beeman as the new president. So Sammy joined in late 2021. So he had nothing to do with anything until late 2021. As far as confiscating parking spots, here is the truth. The secretary of the 2020 board, Jack Freimer, who many of you know and maybe still communicate with, had put together the parking committee at the time. And that parking committee did some fabulous research, but they went ahead and started to take back spaces based on their research. Jack's opinion was that we must protect the declaration at all times. These spaces are not proper, take them back. It was the rest of the board, including Boris and Sammy, that said, no, we cannot do that. It's not proper. There needs to be more research. We need more creative ideas to solve this problem, because at the end of the day, the problem belongs to the entire building. So we need a building-wide solution that's going to make sense. And they actually gave spots back that were confiscated. So please don't believe that Sammy and Boris were confiscating spaces. It's just not true. So as you can see, you're not being told the truth. Trust but verify. Ask. Our slate, La Perla First, continues to pledge truth, transparency, and integrity. You will only get the truth from us. I can guarantee you that. We pledge that to you. I can also safely say that there are going to be times where some residents in the building don't like the truth. But that's okay, as long as it's the truth. To that end, each La Perla First slate member has their personal telephone number and email address listed on our website, on our resumes, and on every email that gets sent out. I have received several calls, and I continue to receive several calls a week from owners who I've never met before, who send me a message, can we talk? They call me, and they want to know what's going on. They see these things that are being said, and they want to know if there's anything that they're missing. Do the same. Seek the truth. Call us. We guarantee you all you're going to get is the truth. So let's cover this voting fiasco for just a second, and I'll let everybody get back to their day. This latest fiasco affected 131 owners. That is 40% of the 326 units in the building. It was a massive error, and it is an error that I personally have not experienced in the 10 years that I've been in the business. Is it strange that this error happened with this selection under a brand new management company, which was basically forced by the current board majority? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Is it strange that our current board director, Bernice, actually knew about this snafu last Thursday, and we only kind of found out about it by accident? I don't know. Is it strange that the only reason we really received as to why the board majority chose FSR over KW was that Bernice felt better about FSR during verbal conversations, more comfortable with FSR? Is that strange? I don't know. It is up to every owner to decide for themselves what actually happened, but the one thing I can say for sure and I think everybody will agree with me, is that regardless of who you want to vote for, and you should vote for whoever you want, we must have a fair election. Plain and simple. Lies will happen during a campaign, but our community deserves a fair election. So please, again, regardless of who you support, you need to cast your vote now. We're going to post on the chat the list of 131 units that did not receive the ballot. Do not wait for that second mailing. You should have already received an email package again. Please print the ballot from the email or go to our La Perla First website, download the ballot, print it from there, and use your own plain white envelopes filled out properly. We have informational videos on the La Perla First website on how to get that done and get your votes in now. We also suggest, because of the mailing issues that we've seen, if possible, send your votes in to the office or to Esther Saig via FedEx, DHL, UPS, United States Express Mail, anything that is trackable so you know it was actually received. Do it now. We need as many owners to vote as possible. One of our goals is full participation by the ownership, which is why we're pushing for electronic voting so badly. This is a perfect example of why we need electronic voting. So please vote now. Thank you for taking the time to view this, and thank you for your support. Please remember, the power is in your pen. You can vote for conflicts of interest and lies, or you can vote for truth, transparency, and integrity. But either way, please just vote and vote now. I look forward to meeting all of you at some point in time, and have a great day.